Kevin McLeod, I had hoped to record this from a new TV studio that we're building, but there was a delay on the eco-glass coming from Germany.
Well, if you insist on bifold doors, what do you expect?
I bet you want to hear another gag about a delay on building supplies, like you want to punch in the face.
Well, no, not really. I mean, look, I think it's because, put it this way, every delay on a project and every increment in the budget is an expression of human hope, isn't it? Belief, faith. You know, the fact that if we didn't have these emotions, then we'd all still be living in caves.
Well, the older I've become as well, the more I've come to believe that, you know, most bad experiences in life simply make great dinner party stories later.
Yeah, it's all about how you craft the story, you're right, yes.
Kevin, I hope you're prepared to be mobbed in Australia, because Grand Designs is even more popular here than it is in the UK.
That is true, in fact. It used to be the case that I think, you know, per capita, in terms of audience share, we had more viewers in Australia than in the UK, but I think we just have more viewers full stop now. Here, men in their 70s sidle up to me in airport lounges in their grey shoes and say, good job, keep it up. That's it. Or I often get ladies coming up to me in their 30s, which is very exciting, saying, I just have to say, my mum really loves your show.
It's a little bit like looking at a government building in rural India.
No.
Yeah? Or maybe even an Italian hilltop fort.
Grand Designs has been going now for about 20 years. When you make a TV series over a long period of time, it does hold a mirror up to society without sounding too worthy about it. What has Grand Designs shown you about how we live and how that's changed? Yeah,
the unending appetite for bifold doors is one of them. The other is, curiously, you know, the other, somebody said to me, what great changes have you been able to mark over the past 20 years? And I think the movement from brown to grey, that's been quite a big one. You know, we used to put brown windows in buildings, now they're all grey. Next, it's going to be yellow. And the other thing is that I don't know if this is an Australian thing very much. I just noticed it very much in the UK, and that is that we used to, when we built a house, like the house I grew up in, had one toilet for the entire family. That seemed to be enough. People queued outside if they needed it. And now people are putting in more toilets into the homes than there are actual physical inhabitants of the building. I don't understand that. How can 4 people need 5 toilets? So you know, on that basis, I'm fully expecting in 10 years' time to visit a finished house which is just toilets, nothing else.
Just 15 rooms, all of which are toilets.
Yeah. Well, that's the obvious conclusion, isn't it?
Other than the inevitable advance of the toilet army, what do you think will be the next trends in building design?
I wouldn't know a trend if it hit me in the face. So, Rem Koolhaas, the Dutch architect, he says that architecture is so slow that there's no point trying to be fashionable with it, because by the time it's built, it's already out of date. So it's a curious thing, isn't it? You see these sort of ideas, movements come and go. People's tastes do change. The one thing I have learned, interestingly, is that my taste is different to yours, but my taste is different to my taste 10 years ago. Therefore, sitting in judgment over other people's taste seems to me kind of a dangerous thing to be doing. I'm just, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of basically completely dodging this question.
You could have a career in politics if this television caper doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Grand Designs fans came up with a drinking game a while back. If you were watching, you know, and supplies were delayed, or if you said the word bespoke, they had to have a drink. And you got wind of it and you made a whole episode working in as many of the drinking triggers as possible. That must have been fun, and also, I imagine, very challenging.
It was also a complete lie.
Or was it? That's totally made up.
Yeah. No. I mean, what happened was I was on. Oh, okay. So we had this program called The Last Leg in the UK, and so they did a spoof version of it. And Adam, who's Australian, who you know well, he hosts this, and so we just asked him about it, and it was in front of what I thought was just a bunch of advertising execs, because it was a Channel 4 kind of, you know, in-house kind of just party. And I just made it up in the moment. I said, yeah, we made it just for a laugh, you know. I mean, who on earth, editorially, would be so foolish and so rash and so irresponsible as to write a program designed to get people drunk? I mean, you know, you'd have all the authorities all over you. And anyway, so I said this, and of course, immediately the gutter press picked it up in their righteous way and started talking about how irresponsible and wrong it was of me to have done this. But I hadn't done it in the first place, no. I'm sorry to disappoint you there. But I mean, no, we take our television making quite seriously.
Oh, it's like a giant Pontefract cake. This is this polished plaster, isn't it? Stucco lustre.
It is. It is like a giant Pontefract cake. How
Feels
delicious.
gorgeous. Giant piece of licorice.
What would be your own dream house?
It's a really good question, that, isn't it? And everybody, I think, has an idea. I'm always suspicious of those people who come to me and say, I know exactly what I want. I've drawn it here. Look, this is the house I want. I say, great, where are you building it? He said, no, I haven't found a site yet. Which is a really weird thing to do, because generally speaking, good buildings are, yes, they're about people and their needs and loves and likes, but they're also about place and response to place, and should be, kind of highly responsive to that. So in my own mind, all I have is a few ideas. I visited a house yesterday which is being built, which is actually a square building around an open cloister, like a Roman villa. And that open cloister is beautiful because it's a beautiful controlled space and it's full of light and stuff, and it's not windy. It's a big problem in the UK, so, being sheltered. And I thought, I could really live. I'd really like that in a building, And I've always fancied a stoop, that kind of deck. You have a lot of them in Australia, that sort of covered deck where you can sit out of the sun and the rain and just enjoy the view and drink wine. I like a view of the sunset, But I mean, I'd like a building that gives me that. But we all of us have our little list, don't we, of things that we think we kind of find powerful and exciting, or ideas in our lives that have been, powerful, that we want to kind of reproduce or get closer to. And I think that's all we should be looking for in buildings. We shouldn't be counting up the toilets before we build the house.
Well, it's been lovely to chat to you tonight, Kevin McLeod. Thank you very much.
Thank you.